Welcome to another edition of the Sales and Marketing Power Hour with your host, Carol Morgan with Denim Marketing and Kimberly Mackey with New Home Solutions Consulting.
Okay. So yeah, keep it going. Let us know what you use AI for. And today is going to be a little different day. So I'm going to kick this off for us. Normally, as you know, we do a little housekeeping in the beginning and then we turn off the slides. Well, last time at our last program where we had so many people, we talked about AI and what's coming, and we shared how to use it as far as but we didn't demonstrate anything. So we had a lot of people go, okay, well, I listened, but now what do I do? So we reached out to two experts that I know you're just that probably need no introduction. But we will get into that, to ask them, hey, I know you guys are doing these really cool things with this. Would you mind sharing with our audience how to, and let's do some demos. So we're going to keep the slides up a little more than usual today. But that doesn't mean that it is not interactive. That doesn't mean we want you to participate less. Please to reach out to us, and you figured out where that chat button is. So keep that chat fired up all the way through, and Carol and I will do our best to monitor that while Anya and Barrett are talking to us. So Anya posted a quote for us this morning, so I'm not going to take credit for this one, but I like it. So any sufficiently advanced technology, like I can't see for all the stuff on it,
is indistinguishable.
Is indistinguishable from magic. So it does kind of seem magical, doesn't it? Yeah. I think that may be why we're so scared of it, for sure. Can you go ahead and advance? Forget, I'm not advancing things. So can you go ahead and advance for us, Barrett? There we go. Oh. So Carol, take it away and tell us about you.
So Carol Morgan, founder and president of Denim Marketing here in the greater Atlanta metro area, where it actually rained at my house today. I don't know if you guys know, but we have not had a lot of rain, at least on the north side of Atlanta lately. So super excited about that. We work for builders and developers and others in the industry nationwide. Our specialty is social media, blogging, media relations, email marketing, a little bit of strategy here and there, lots of promotions and incentives. So if you're interested in any of that or need help, give me a shout.
Excellent. And Carol and Anya and I are just fresh back from the National Association of Home Builders spring legislative meetings. So we all got to hang out in Washington, D.C. last week and be lobbyists for a day and do all kinds of fun stuff. So it's good to try to be back and be in the normal rhythm of things. I'm Kimberly Mackey. For those of you who don't know me, my company is New Home Solutions Consulting, and I'm fond of saying that I'm the person that people call when builders call when they want sales to be the engine that drives the train rather than running it off the tracks. So I do more than just sales training. I come in and make sure all of the processes, procedures, systems are in place to support your sales efforts, and including traction for builders. So I do actually do some operational stuff too, again, to make sure that everything is in place to support where you want to go sales-wise and the growth of your company. So if I can help you with your sales and marketing strategy, I don't do marketing per se, but I do help with strategies and recommendations there. Or if I can help you just put your systems and everything in place to make sure that there's a little less chaos and a little less firefighting, give me a call, and that is my contact information and my website where you can find out more. Barrett, go ahead.
Pass the mic to Anya real quickly.
Me. So hi, everybody. My name is Anya Chrisanthon, and I'm the Chief Brand Officer at Anewgo. I have been obsessed with technology pretty much my whole life. Since my selling days for builders back in the day, I always incorporated technology into my sales and marketing process to really save myself a lot of time. So of course, I've been really obsessed over all the AI tools that recently became available. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. And at Anewgo, just to give you a quick elevator pitch of our company, we are on the mission to make buying new construction not only fun, but also easy. And we do that by partnering with home builders to provide cutting-edge virtual tours, as well as interactive design tools, from selecting your lot to designing your home's interior and exterior. And we even offer transactions online, so you can click and buy now. And Anewgo.com is the ultimate marketplace for new home buyers, builders, and agents. And it offers collaborative and interactive home buying experience that leverages the latest AI technology. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about Anewgo and how we utilize technology to really make home buying and selling easy. So I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
All right.
Barrett, we saved the best for last.
All right, perfect. So I'm Barrett Davis. I'm the co-founder of NterNow, the leading self-guided tour platform for home builders. And when I was at IBS this year, I spoke with hundreds of people that were very interested in AI. They didn't know what to do, where to get started. And so I actually created a new company and a new product. It's called HomeScribe. So you'll get a sneak peek today. It's basically a Chat GPT specifically for home builders. It's free to use. It's like a training platform. So it'll show you what to use, how to use it, led by a lot of the community and things like that. It's basically a great resource for the community. So it'll be a sneak peek today. The actual company launches next week. We're doing a PR campaign and it's free to sign up and things like that. So let me jump on in.
It's very cool. He's taken a lot of the thought process out for us, which I like because, you know, the brain power only goes so far, right? Please join our Sales and Marketing Power Hour Facebook group. That's our interactive page. We post polls. We're asking questions. We want to hear from you. You know, if you're stumped on something, that's the place for you to go and go, hey, has anybody else experienced this? What did you do? So we want to invite you to be very active in it, not only just join it, but be very active in it. We recently posted a poll about licensed salespeople, and I was very excited to see how many people took that poll and posted in that to see how laws are different in different states and how rules are different in different states for people. So that was, you know, again, the topics are not just what we're talking about here on Sales and Marketing Power Hour. So you can search for us. There's no and in it. It's just Sales Marketing Power Hour. Just look that up. All right, let's get right into it then. Barrett, I believe you're going to take it away for us.
Absolutely. So I've got a few slides here, and then we're going to do a live demo. There's nothing like failing in front of a few hundred people, but so I'll jump there in a second. So one of the main things that I was trying to solve, sort of our mission at HomeScribe, is just a Chat GPT for home building, but where there's hundreds of recipes that are created by the community to find the best things to tell the AI to get the best results. And I'm not going to be able to create that, but I've been able to develop the technology and I've got us started. But, you know, showcasing this today, you know, I want questions, we want prompts. I can try them. I know what to tell the machine. You know, the end mission of this product is to find the best prompts for the things that we do day to day to save time. So this is a little bit about HomeScribe. So it is AI built for new construction. Every night we train it against the top 200 home builders. So, you know, if you're writing property descriptions, what a better way of benchmarking against a complete crowd, right? So there's a lot of things going on in the background that we've implemented that make this very precisely implementable for home building. HomeScribe is, you can get started with it quickly. You can sign up for free. You can click a few buttons to try out. In terms of the community, we want people to build recipes. We want eventually to create like a leaderboard where we can get the best recipes for each thing that we do. And as I mentioned, it's community driven. So,
hey Barrett, could you explain a little bit about the term recipe in this? I mean, I think that might be confusing for some.
It's making me hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you type into Chat GPT, and I'll show you in a second, into our platform, there'll be specific variables where you can plug in your community or your builder name or certain information and things like that. So a recipe is actually, I've got a screen for it. So there's a list of recipes that you can click on. So there's actually a video where somebody's training you how to use it. There's actually the description of who created it. So your company name, the website. So you get the branding and things like that. You can share it. There's a description of what the recipe does. So in here, we're creating a job description for a new home counselor, and it actually gives you the exact recipe. So you can actually click run as the user, and then perform the actions, and you just fill in the variables. So, and I'll show you how to do this in real time in a second here. So hopefully, did that answer your question, Carol? So the idea of HomeScribe is to have sort of a repertoire of recipes, and there's sort of a description to it, and then the actual variables to run the specific commands.
It's like that new job of prompt engineer that we've been hearing about. They're making, 300 grand a year. So it's done for you. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's cool.
But if you want to hire me for 300 grand a year as a prompt engineer, I'm just saying.
You're available.
All right. So we'll kick this off here. So this is the inside of HomeScribe here. We've got our dashboard. We've got chat, recipes. We're eventually connecting this to your property feed, so you can actually bring in some of your communities, your properties. So you don't have to actually copy and paste those back in here. So we'll kick off live demo here. So we've got a chat library on the right. So we cover all different segments of day-to-day work. We're looking for improvements every day. We'll have free weekly training where you can jump on in. I'll test things live. We can try to make things the best we can. Again, it's a community sort of driven tool. So we'll start with our community launch plan. So I'm going to use my friends over at Legend Homes. So they've got a new community called Blue Stem. We're just going to fill in the variables, like I said, Legend Homes, and we're going to hit enter to kick this off. And then we're going to look at the results. So as you guys know, with all generative AI, whether you're new or you've used it before, it's about 80% right every time. You always need to have that last sort of 20% editorial review. So
Barrett, we have a question here in the chat. It says, so please forgive the elementary question, is HomeScribe.ai is another version of Chat GPT?
It's very similar. It's built on top, but it's built on top of other AI models as well. So like we leverage Google's SEO, their Google Places. A lot of like your home builder data lives inside of the Google ecosystem publicly on the internet. So we tie in a lot of sources besides just sort of Chat GPT. And then we sort of have our own model as well. So it all sort of plays together to give you sort of the best experience that we can provide.
Yeah, but it does look a lot like Chat GPT. Like it's very simple. It's all right here. Like you just type your prompt in, and it's not and then you're gonna get your answer just like that. So it operates the same way, Renee. It's very cool. It just knows more about home building because he's building it for this industry.
Yeah, and then just to get started using the tool to get comfortable with AI, we're gonna have some prompts, and then hopefully the recipes get better over time, where if you've got a specific task, you can kind of search for it, test it out. The main thing that I find that generative AI solves for my businesses, or me personally, is sort of the blank canvas problem. So, just to get started in a certain task, you want a job description. It can spit out the first 80% of the chunk, or a PR statement for HomeScribe. We're doing a PR campaign. I'm going to take the draft that this will provide and give it to Carol, who's an expert in PR, as an example. So instead of me spending hours and time going back and forth with her in PR, she's an expert at PR. Now I can hand her a draft. I can craft it to how I want, and then I can hand it off to an expert. So it's not necessarily replacing anybody that's an expert in their craft. It's just like helping you save hours by taking some of the manual repetitive tasks off. So one that works pretty well for the blank canvas problem is just when you tell it to sort of brainstorm different ideas around different subjects. So we'll do this again for Legend Homes. And we'll brainstorm around millennial home buyers. So there we go. It's touching into virtual tours, which are obviously popular in our space, which segues great into Anewgo and all of those tools. But just generally, if you're doing the same practices probably all the time for a new community, sometimes playing with this you might just find like one or two extra new things to try and do, and you can just go down a rabbit hole in here. So definitely in terms of like writing a blog post, we've got other ways where you can quickly write a blog post. There's other canned things to jump on in here, but I was just going to show you a few. One of the best things to use generative AI for is definitely like a press release. So I was going to launch this one next. So back to my friends at Legend Homes, blue stem. And so what's great about the press release is it does perform definitely inside of HomeScribe. We've tried to tailor the press release module around using some of the pieces in like a proper PR campaign. So HomeScribe is live. It's completely using the internet. It's not like Chat GPT. If you use that from OpenAI, it's old. You'd have to use their plugin to make it live. HomeScribe's always live. So
Barrett, we have another question. It says, so from the list that it generated, can you then ask it to outline number 3, for example?
Yes, you could. So I was just going to kind of jump in how you can tailor into the response. So, we can also get a professional quote based on the response. So by the Legend Homes CEO. So it should go out to the internet, find who's the current CEO of Legend Homes, and then it will sort of tailor it into like sort of a PR standpoint where it'll drop a quote as well, like it did previously, but just as an example. So you can get a response, you can keep talking to it, and it will kind of keep going. So
and we have another question. Is the HomeScribe mobile optimized? Because I look at the website and it looks like I'm seeing double.
No, I don't think it's optimized yet. We're definitely launching next week. So as I said, we're just a small band of people just trying to make this better. It's a free tool. So we'll mobile optimize it for you for sure. So
good to see people are checking out the website though. That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. So job descriptions work great as well. You can put in your current job description and tell it, hey, this is my job description, and then you can prompt it as well. So we'll just say new home counselor, we'll stick with blue stem, and we'll do Legend Homes one more time. So it's great. It will actually parse down some of the description around the community, just some key responsibilities that it finds on the internet for the most popular new home sales positions and things like that. You can be much more specific. You can add bullet points for qualifiers. Say it's a director of sales. I wrote one recently for NterNow where I added 5 or 6 bullet points, and it will include all of those and things like that. One of the most popular ones that was mentioned in the chat as well is property descriptions. So one that I can just show you real quickly, one thing to say is, if you have on your website a property that's on there, but you don't have a description yet, you can actually give it a link because ours is live and populated on the internet. So it will write a property description, hopefully. Here we go. So it pulled in the right address. It's in Splendora. It's a 3 to 2 bedroom. So it's pulling out the property feed on the internet. It's looking at the features that were highlighted, but there was no property description on the website. So one of the cool little prompts that I've seen work the best, so if you're taking notes, this is a good one, is you can tell Chat GPT or HomeScribe, ours is a little bit more enhanced on the SEO side. So you can actually use the tag SEO enhanced property description. This will be better for the MLS description that goes out there. It will actually find keywords on the internet in your area and populate those. So we will copy and paste this in here.
And I think that's a really important point. That's one thing that I've discovered. So when I'm asking it to write a summary or to, I'm brainstorming a blog post, if I ask for it to be written in SEO style, like I'll ask it, I get the original idea and we run through it and we go back and forth with a couple of iterations. And then once I have the one I'm happy with, then I will ask for it to be rewritten in SEO style. So I'm making sure that I have it both reading well for the reader, for the user experience, but also reading well for that search. Because I think if I understand correctly, as AI does become more and more connected to the internet, those key things are going to become even more important. So if you're not SEO and SEM optimized on your website, on all of your content that you have out there, you're just not going to be found, because it's searching for this stuff like that. It's not going through and reading everything that's on the internet. Am I wrong in the way I'm describing that?
No, it's perfect. Like personally, I use Google search way less now. I mean, like if I'm trying to find information, like I don't want ads, I don't want like 10 pages of answers. Like I just want a specific answer. So I would just throw it into HomeScribe because it's what I use every day. Or you can use Chat GPT or something like that. But you know, now that these things are becoming more live enabled on the internet, having your company's website more enabled for traffic for some of these sort of AI searches is going to be key for the future. It's definitely the way my behaviors change personally. And that's just because I'm using the tool every day, but I found myself very rarely using Google search now. And then one thing to just piggyback off your question or your answer is that the best way to get good with generative tools is knowing the qualifiers and what to say back to it. So just as an example, this is the home in Houston. So these are the property descriptions. What I've noticed is, they have a huge amount of bilingual buyers. So, we have another sort of one around multilingual, but just to respond back to the AI, you want to talk to it like an executive assistant. So just say, be rude, just say, rewrite this in Spanish. Just be explicit, tell it to rewrite, tell it to try again, add more qualifiers like rewrite this in a professional tone, make this funny, tell it like, I don't like this answer, give me something better. Like that, like telling it negative things, it matters. It is weird how the levers work in the background, how it picks up on sentiment, it picks up on correctness of what you're saying is correct or not. The more times you tell it to rewrite, it's also thinking that it was giving you the wrong answers. So it does get better over time. So it is very interesting. Oh, sorry, that's funny.
I think that's important.
That didn't even work.
We're training, but we're training the computer. So I think that's very important for us to remember that we are training it when we're using these tools. It's kind of like, Carol and I ride horses. So we always say you're always training a horse, either a good behavior or a bad behavior. You're always training it. So
every ride is a training ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could, Barrett, before we go too far down, this number 3, if we could scroll back up to it, that seems to have struck a chord, whatever it was. And so they'd like for you to expand and maybe ask it to elaborate on that number 3 on that first example.
Sure, yeah. So let's see, optimize the website for search engine, increase visibility and reach of the development. So, I mean, I could just ask, let's see, optimize the website.
I think somebody said, can you just ask it to expand on number 3? And how far back does it remember in the conversation?
It's only really going to remember your last answer. You can just copy and paste that last answer. Like I did, I just sort of copy and paste it again. Like just, I'm used to sort of interacting. And so that's what I do. It's best with the last answer given. It can pull like previous information, things like that. So like the model told me that it couldn't rewrite the last one in Spanish. It just had a hiccup. They're not perfect yet. Mine's not perfect. None of them are perfect. So, rewrite this in Spanish. So I just sort of copy and paste it, told it to rewrite it in Spanish with more detail. I told it to rewrite the property description.
Well, and I think that's an important point. None of them are perfect. Some of them make up stuff. Some of them lie. Some of them make up stuff and tell you they made up stuff. I mean, I had Chat GPT one day when I asked it to cite sources, tell me it couldn't, that it made up everything. I was like, oh, that's very interesting of you. It was quoting the National Housing Institute and made up stuff. But I have 2 questions for you, Barrett. One is,
please,
when you tell it to write enhanced SEO copy, how do you know what it thinks enhanced SEO copy is? Because I don't see you giving it any keywords or any further direction. So what's kind of its basic premise behind that?
Very subjective question. So I can answer that in 2 ways. So I can tell you a little bit how HomeScribe works. The other AI models do a lot of different things. So specifically, we use the keywords API, things like that. So what I've seen is that it will look at your website, it'll look at the internet, it'll look at what's in the model, it'll look at the top keywords in that area. it puts them all together in like what's called a vector, which is like 8 buckets. You can kind of visually think about it like that. You know, your website, top things in your area, best SEO practices online. Like it's already been trained by these things. And so it puts together these 8 buckets and then comes up with a reasonable result. And that's basically what it's giving you. So you can sort of use that as a benchmark for SEO. It's not going to be like a bulletproof. It's not going to be as better. Like you should still work with an SEO consultant. But when you first have your first meeting with them, you can have a laundry list of things that you think you can improve, and they can double check those, as opposed to a blank canvas of, I'm hiring an SEO consultant. What do I need to do? You can actually sort of use this tool to sort of play around and get some different results for sort of the ideation inspiration. So that's a lot of how I use the generative AI for my different companies and how I think it can really be impactful for home building, especially as we sort of have these recipes and we can kind of argue over what are the best prompts and the best qualifiers to use. We will have a library of like the 100 best things to use for these certain tasks, like bulletproof, especially as the AI models get better every month. Like today, even for this demo, OpenAI released a huge upgrade to what we use. It will make my platform twice as fast. And I'm turning it on after this demo because I didn't want to nuke the live demo. But you know, just as an example, this stuff is expanding every week. And so a little bit of what I'm helping sort of usher into the community is a community tool and some of the AI infrastructure underneath. So as a nerd and a programmer, I'm just passionate about working on the stuff underneath, and I need help with the community to find some of the problems you have day to day. You know, I'll try the best qualifiers to make the best result. And the main thing is just to cut out the manual day-to-day tasks that are monotonous, to get back to creative work, you know, to lead sales and things like that. So I guess that's probably the end of my soapbox. The last thing I have to show on the tool is just how quickly it is easy to run a recipe. So once it's created, you can go into, let's say, how we just went over an SEO enhanced property. So you can click on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable running it, you can watch the YouTube video. It's a step-by-step process on what to do, how it works. This can be created by you or me. There's a description and there's recipe content. You click run, it'll take you right back to chat. It will pop it in for you. So that way you just get started. You click one button, you can just try stuff. You can go back to the video for other tips and tricks for that specific sort of recipe. But that's sort of how this idea is coming together. So I think that sort of wraps up sort of my live demo here, but just wanted to showcase how that works.
That's
really excited
awesome
about this because the first time I saw this, when Barrett demoed with me, I was just absolutely blown away. I was like, you've just taken so much of the guesswork out of it.
It's way better in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. It's crazy how a lot of the infrastructure we're using, and just as I've been playing with it, like I've found what better things are to tell it, and like when it's giving me the wrong answers, you know, helping qualify that. And every week I'm doing sort of like a free session where people can join, ask me questions, and I'm just going to play around with HomeScribe. It's the way to get the word out, to help the community. So you know, when this podcast is over, there'll be a link to that and things like that. So
Barrett, looks like we got last question about the platform. Does this AI software generate a completely unique response each time? Or if multiple companies are asking for a property description, for example, will they receive the same response?
Good question.
That's a great question. It is pretty unique. You will start to see some of the same answers. Like if I don't know how people are familiar with Spanish, but I could just send this one again and we can compare the two, but I wouldn't be able to read either of them. But I'd say that it gets it pretty similar, and it knows who I am. Like when let's say I've got 1,000 users and they're using my platform, the 2 different AI models we use know who I am and are like trying to make better recommendations with the feedback that they get. So the more property descriptions we tell it, like it has a better idea of what property descriptions are and the quality of them and things like that. So there are a lot of euphemisms out there, and you know, there's a lot of like high flying things about AI. Like it's only 80% great. It's definitely magical. And the extra 20% is like the craftsmanship, through experiments like HomeScribe can sort of bring to a specific vertical. So that's how I interpret it. So that's sort of my opinion on the fact.
And
it learns from you though. Like, so
Yeah.
when you went in, you wouldn't see everybody else's work. You're only going to see, I mean, the recipes and stuff are there for everybody to use, but it starts to learn as you tell it, we like this style, or we want all of our home descriptions to have this in it. Like it learns how your particular style is. So I think, Shannon, maybe that answers your question a little more, that it would, maybe there's some things that would come across the same, but as it learns what you like and don't like, it would start to become more and more unique for you. Is that right, Barrett?
Yes, it does. And probably the last thing I'd say is there are definitely some concerns around using like private information inside of this. Like I wouldn't use any like personal information inside of it. But what's interesting is we're using some of the newer edge things that where the language model won't store your proprietary information. It's just using it to reason. It doesn't actually need to store. It'll run it through, process it, give me a response, and it won't even store it on the other end. So it's just the better data to use anyways is the public data that's out there already on your website. There's a lot of context in the Google services and things like that already out there on the public internet for this to better craft all this day-to-day stuff for you. So that was the last thing I'd say before I sort of pass the mic over to Anya. So.
All right. So you guys, can you see my screen now? Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. So as we talk about content, and you guys have seen firsthand what happens when we search for content, and I want you to think about not only the written content that you have, but also about any visual content that you're representing on your builder website, right? Because what's happening now is people are using chat instead of necessarily going to Google to search for new communities, for example. So when that happens, let me see if I can bring up my Bing here. What happens when they're searching for that information on chat? Now, okay, you have the written that is optimized for SEO, but what about the visual content, all the homes, all the representations that you have? Is AI able to communicate with that piece of information? Because, for example, if you search on Bing now and I'll say new homes in Raleigh, North Carolina, it's going to bring up not only the links, but also the visual results. So if your website is optimized for content, your content can come up in those searches. So this is where interactive content that's tagged is going to make a big difference. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. First, what I wanted to do is talk to you about creating some of the content. So, you guys know that content has always been king, and now it's even bigger king because content is what generates data, and AI is not possible without data. So I wanted to show you some of the tools that I use day to day in my job to create marketing materials for Anewgo. As many of you know, I started my career as a content creator, as a podcaster. So a lot of the tools that I use currently or that are on my radar are going to be related to either podcast creating or video creation, because as we all know, video is here to stay. So, I'll share some of the things that I've embraced in my day-to-day video creation to make it easier for me. So one of those things is it's an actual app. It's called Captions AI. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an app that you can download on your phone. So this is how I use it personally. So when you're creating videos, one of the things that prevents people from producing video content is, I can memorize the script or it's too difficult. So with this platform, what it allows you to do is it's your teleprompter. But unlike a typical teleprompter where your eyes are looking, right? Like if I'm looking at a teleprompter, I'm reading, I'm not making an eye connection. It's not really that great. So what this platform does is when you're reading the teleprompter, AI corrects it so that to the viewer, when you play the video back, it's going to look like the whole time you're making an eye connection with the viewer and you're not reading the teleprompter. So that is an awesome tool. If you're, like, hey, I don't know what to produce, maybe for your audience, you can do an easy recap of what's going on in the home building industry, right? What's trending, what's going on with interest rates, like a mini news show related specifically to your area, to new construction. You can write out a quick script using Chat GPT, using any of those platforms that we talked about earlier, and pop it into Captions AI, read it, and boom, there goes your video. So that's one that I use personally. Another one I wanted to show you is Subtitle. So if you guys have seen my videos on LinkedIn, what I'll do is I'll record my podcasts in Zoom. And then what I'll do to promote the podcast is I'll chop it into smaller portions and into more of a viewer friendly, segments. And then I'll add captions to it to make it more user-friendly, because as you know, most people watch social media on mute. So if you don't have captions, then you're going to miss a big portion of your audience. So here's an example of one of the videos. Oh, let's see. You know what? It's going to make me download the video, but let's see if I can pop it up real quick, just to give you a quick sample of what. Can you see the?
Yes.
This is what Anewgo is all about. We started out as a visualization company. So in Anewgo Marketplace, you have the ability to design, shoppers have the ability to design, real estate agents, anybody that comes in.
All right, so I'm going to close it off. So this one is just an example of what that one does. Hang on, let me pop back my. Here we go. So that's Subtitle, and what it will do is it will put in those captions for you automatically, and you can set it up to make it, follow the speech. It's going to give you fun little colors so that you can make it your brand colors, and you can pop in the headline like you saw, make it really friendly and easy for people to digest. But then it's also going to take it a step further, and it uses AI to suggest video title for you, as well as video description. So you can very quickly turn that video into a social media post like I do on LinkedIn, and you don't spend hours and hours thinking, oh my goodness, what's the good title for this? What's the good description? What's the good hook? It creates that for you on the fly, literally. So Subtitle is the one to check out if you don't.
Will it figure out which ones to chop? Like if I've got an hour-long podcast or interview, will it figure out which segments to chop out, or is that still manual?
This one will not, but let me show you the one that will.
Okay.
There is one tool that's called Opus Clips. So Opus Clip, can you see that on screen now?
Mm-hmm.
So this one will do it for you automatically. So the way it works is, for example, here I'm using my last podcast as an example. I had, a 30-minute podcast with Molly Elkman from Group 2 Advertising, and we talked about the house that she built, lots of different topics. So I uploaded the full video into this platform. And what it will do is a couple of things. So one, it's going to chop it up into small bite pieces, and those are typically shorter. So for Subtitle, for example, I did like 10 minutes because that's like a cutoff for LinkedIn. It's the maximum amount you can put directly into LinkedIn platform. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. It's typically, 30 seconds type of clips. So it's great for Instagram and platforms like that, TikTok. And what it will do is it not only finds those pieces of content that would be relevant, but it also checks for what's currently trending. So it's going to look for what are people talking about on social media, what's hot right now, and it's going to pull those topics. So for example, right there, the first one, and it assigns a score to it. So you can see this video, it said it's 96% score. So if I click on it,
Steve pulled me in on a project very early, but it was just an idea. And this is something
I know you guys can't hear it very well, but the point is that you can see the captions.
Yep. So it creates captions automatically. I can go in, I can change, what's shown on screen. I can have it be half screen Molly, half screen myself. I can reformat it with the click of a button into, is it a 1:1? What type of format, what type of ratio I want it so that it is appropriate for the platform that I'm going to use it for. So that one I love. Next platform that I want to show you guys is, let me minimize this. Nothing like a live presentation to keep you on your toes. So let me minimize this one. And let's see here. Oops. Okay, hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, the next one is Descript. Have you guys heard about Descript? Anybody? So this is a super fun platform. So what Descript does is a few different things. So let me go back out and I will open it up in a project. So what Descript can do is it can transcribe your video. So the way I used to edit all of my videos before was in iMovie, which means that I have to sit there and listen to the audio or to the video in order to edit it. Now, what this platform allows you to do is it automatically transcribes a video for you into a text format. So you can see right here, last week we did a Buy Now webinar. So I uploaded the video into Descript, and now it identified automatically who the speakers are. And now I can edit it in the text. So I know that here in the beginning of the webinar, they were just chit-chatting, saying like, oh, when are we going to get started in a second? Okay. So now when I can find, okay, when are we starting the webinar? I can just cut this whole part out. I can delete it, and it's going to delete it in my video. I can also remove any filler words. So, those annoying like any of those words, I can remove that from my video automatically using this platform, which again, saves me a ton of time, and it works for both video and audio. It's not 100% perfect. So I did it for my last podcast. I removed filler words, and it sometimes there's a little bit of a sound that you could sort of hear. So just like with all the AI tools right now, they are still in an infancy stage, but they are getting better and better. So I think this one is definitely worth checking out. It is pretty far ahead. Now,
Anya, we have a couple questions about this. So is it a desktop app versus an online?
It's online, so they do make you download it, so you can see it pops up from my app. So it is something that you download, but it is web-based.
And does it work on both Mac and PC?
I believe so. Yes, I believe there's a version for Mac and PC. Now, one of the other coolest features that Descript does is voices. So what it can do is I can put in text into Descript, and then I can have an avatar read it for me. But what's even better, and you can see right here, it's generating my voice. So I unfortunately didn't have enough time. I should have submitted this a few days ago, but as soon as it's ready, you guys, I'm going to create a video to show you what this does. What it does is it takes your own voice. It's going to ask you to upload your voice sample. So for example, I uploaded my last podcast that I did solo. It needs about 30 minutes of your voice. And what it will do is it will generate your voice. So next time when I go into Descript and I'm like, hey, you know what? I need to create a podcast episode because I didn't record anything last week and I'm in a pinch. I'm going to go to Chat GPT to generate my script for the podcast. I'm going to upload this script into Descript, and then I'm going to apply my own voice to say it. So now essentially I've taken this whole production, which would have taken me much longer, right? I would have to come up with the script. I would have to say it out loud, record it, edit it. All of this can be done literally in a matter of minutes, which is insane. So this is really cool. Definitely try it out. It said it's going to take anywhere between 2 hours to 24 or 48 hours to generate your own voice. So I can't wait until I get mine. As soon as I do, I will post a recording of it so you guys can see if it actually sounds like myself or not. So that's an awesome one. And then you can, again, in turn, do the opposite, right? If I already have a podcast recorded, I can create the script in Descript, and then I can take that script and load it into Chat GPT to create a blog post for me so that we can maximize our content. Don't spend your time, reinventing the wheel. Just use what you have to generate more pieces of content using these tools. And then you guys have probably already heard about other tools such as Synthesia, or this one is called DID, where you can use an avatar to say your script, right? So in this one, I don't know if you can hear, let me turn up the volume.
Anya, real quickly, do you mind explaining what an avatar is? Because I don't know.
Fun and easy. We do this by partnering with home builders to provide cutting-edge virtual tours, as well as interactive design tools.
So what's cool about this one is that I used my own voice. I recorded it, now it's saying it for me. I think it still is not 100% realistic looking, but the point is the tools are getting there. So content creation, video creation is going to become easier and easier. Okay, so let's take some chat questions. Sorry, I got carried away.
So we have a few questions, but I don't know if you heard Barrett. Barrett's like, tell me what an avatar is, so back up and talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so an avatar is just the representation of you in a virtual world. So you've probably seen in Facebook, people use those, cartoon versions of themselves. So that's your avatar. So essentially the lady that you see on screen, she would be an avatar. So it would be just a person that I choose for my video. And it could be, it can be your own.
It can be you. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Synthesia,
cool.
They can create your avatar in your likeness. You'll upload video for them in a green screen, and I'll do it. I think it costs $1,000 to do that. So,
I think it's 1,000 extra on top of their base package.
Well, right. So it's 1,000 per year to have your own
avatar.
Yeah. So if you produce a ton of video.
Yeah, Synthesia is interesting. It's going to be, so for those of you who are members of the National Association of Home Builders, we're using Synthesia as part of what we're doing for the Public Affairs and Communications Committee. So you will soon be seeing some avatars out there online in various different places sharing messages for NHB. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, so if you guys see somebody online that looks like me doing something appropriate, I'm just saying.
It's not Anya.
Wasn't me.
So I'm thinking, now I'm thinking she's getting away with stuff. So she can always go, it was my avatar. It wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't me is my excuse for it. So,
is there like real quick, Anya, is there a big rush to kind of pin down your own avatar in Synthesia then? Sort of like everybody rushed to get their company's Twitter handle and things like that? Is that?
I think that it's still fairly new, that not a lot of people, I knew about Synthesia. I've used it a couple of years ago for generic avatar. I didn't actually realize that they now offer personalized avatar to you. So, I mean, I think it's going to be something that people do, especially as a real estate agent, right? As a professional, you produce marketing day in and day out. We see those real estate agents, right, giving us the update on the market conditions, everything else. So now you can have all of that essentially outsourced, right? You can have virtual assistant who can create the scripts for you using Chat GPT. They can use your voice from this script to read the script, and then they can use your personal avatar to say it out loud in your voice. So the technology is getting really interesting and really, really fast. I think the video part of the whole AI is still a little bit behind from what, for what's to come, but the video is, of course, the most complicated thing. So if you've tried playing with like, with some of those AI tools for video generation, I haven't used it in my marketing personally, just because I feel like the quality is just not quite there, but it's definitely getting there. So
Anya, before you go too much further into this, Tess had a good comment about how sometimes you have to combine these tools right now.
yes.
So, I think Barrett's program has combined a lot of the tools in order to get what he was looking for our industry. And I think there really isn't something that does everything we want yet. You do have to combine them, but even combining them is much more cost effective and time saving once you figure them out. The learning curve is a little steep on some of them, but once you figure that out, then you're saving a lot of time and a lot of money versus hiring all of that out and having it done professionally or going to a studio. And
absolutely.
So good point, Tess. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And, people always ask me like, how do you stay on top of all this stuff? So I'm very lucky. I work for a company that uses AI, and we've been at the forefront of some of this technology. And our CEO, John Lee, sends me literally articles in the morning. I wake up every morning, there's at least 3-4 articles about AI. So what I've been doing is I've been putting those articles into Bard, which is a Chat GPT competitor. It's bard.google.com. It's owned by Google. So it is plugged into the internet real time. So what I've been doing, I've been saying, hey, summarize this article for me. You drop in the link and it's going to give you a quick summary. Then I grab that summary, I put it into Descript. And guess what? As I'm getting ready in the morning after my shower, it reads it for me. So by the time I join our calls, I'm on top of it. I know what's going on. I read all the articles. I'm an A+ student. So that is some of the really cool stuff. But I wanted to wrap things up by showing you guys how important it is to have your content primed for AI. So if you've already seen that people are searching for information using Chat GPT. So Chat GPT and all of the other chat AI is going to be pulling information that is primed for AI. And it's not just information like, what my community looks like, the written content, but it's also the visual content. So at Anewgo, we've been pioneering personalized content. And what makes personalized content is that it's interactive content. We've been using AI for a long time to generate our interactive content. So for example, what you see on screen right now, the visualizers for interior of the home or the exterior, it goes through our AI and it works as a translator, right? We put in the CAD file from the builder speak, we put it through our AI engine and it comes out as an exterior showing consumers different color variations. Now the consumer can in turn play with the exterior as they're playing with the colors and changing the colors. It translates, the AI translates it back into the builder spec, into the blueprint, so the builder can build that. Now, what's cool about this is that every single piece of content, of interactive content, is tagged. So all of the floor plans, all of the options as consumers go in and they interact online with interactive content, all of that data is being recorded, which allows for some really cool things. It allows for predictive marketing, just like when you go to Amazon and you looked at the blouse and then they show you 5 more blouses that you may like. The same thing can happen when consumers are interacting with this content. We can now position floor plans or communities for them that they would also like in turn. And all of that is possible because of data. So how do you tag that data? You have to have smart content. And how's the content become smart? It's smart when it's interactive, right? When you're able to actually interact with that content is when you get smart content, taggable content. So it's primed for AI. So I just wanted to stress that as we go further and further into AI and we change the way people search for new construction, smart content is going to become even more important. So things like buy now or reserve online is not just a cool thing for your consumers, but it's essential for priming AI because it essentially records their entire customer journey online. And now we can take that data and we can retarget them and we can predict what they're going to be doing next. I think we're coming up short on time, so we're about done here. So I just wanted to show you guys some of the quick things that are to come. So we're going to be using Chat GPT on in Anewgo inside of our ecosystem to automatically generate descriptions for properties because all of the floor plans are tagged. We can take those tags and say, hey, Chat GPT, create marketing post from these tags. And it's going to automatically generate these descriptions for you as home builders. So you don't have to do any of this work at all manually. You can just go in the back end and see, did it generate correct information? Looks good. Or, hey, I want to change this. So these are some of the things we're working on. And as I mentioned in the beginning, now search engines like Bing, which are AI empowered, they are pulling visual information and not just the links. So that's why it's so important for you to have smart interactive content so that you can show up on top of the search there.
When it says alternate text for those pictures, every picture needs to
have
have all of that on there. So, and this is why, this is exactly it. Okay, we are at the top of the hour, so we do need to let people go. If you're like me, your hair is blown back a little bit, and I think I'm up to speed on all this stuff, and now I've got notes after notes after notes.
I know.
So it will come out in the, I will put these links in for everything that Anya talked about. I'll put the links for everything Barrett talked about in the video. So you will get the video replay. This one's going to take a little while to run it through editing, unless Anya helps me with all these tools to get it through editing very quickly. Yes. So give us a couple days to get it back out to you, but we will turn that back around. You'll have everything in the show notes, and join us again. So join us in August. Make sure you've signed up for all of ours. You can use the same link you used to sign up for this one. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a little different for us. And Carol, I don't know, that's probably the easiest interview we've ever done.
I love it. Yeah. It's like, let's figure out a way to replicate it in August. I mean, I still have so many questions about AI. I think we could do a whole section on content for your website and what that should look like. And, there's just, it's going to affect all of us. We've all got to find ways to embrace it and to use it and to work, smarter, not harder. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Dana says it will all be different in August. Yes, it will. So we'll have to do it again.
It'll all be different by tomorrow. And Barrett's going to plug in his new live thing, and all of a sudden, everything's going to be optimized. And yeah.
So we're excited about it, Barrett.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. This was fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your week.